How quickly did you get comfortable in something like that?
I don't know if you're ever like, oh yeah, I'm totally comfortable. You're always just out of control.
Yeah, okay.
You can't see anything.
Yeah.
You're just taking
Does some
lucky
have windows
bounces.
in the bottom so that when you're up on the wheel?
Well, there's Lexan right down here. So you sit in the center of the chassis.
Yeah, okay.
No, you're not in a motorcycle stand-up condition. Okay. I get this all the time. Do you stand up like you're driving a motorcycle? No, that's one guy.
Okay.
I know him. He's nuts. We would sit in, so you sit in the center of the chassis and you have a rigid aluminum seat like they would use at NASCAR, and it's custom molded to your body. So your hips, your ribs, your shoulders, all of these custom measurements, or you'll be dead.
Yeah.
So I test drove for 2 days.
Uh-huh.
If you think you got that car figured out, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You drive it for years with 3-minute increments in a weekend, and you're never gonna get comfortable in that car.
Yeah.
You're just gonna do the best you can.
Right.
You're just gonna hop in and adapt as quick as you can. Yeah. And that's probably why I got the job, because with no experience at all, they just said to do something. They said, okay, just when I drop my arm, we're just gonna do a whole shot. You're gonna stand on the brake, come up on the torque converter, pretend I'm a green light, I'm gonna drop my arm, and you go and stop in 20 feet. Just go 20 feet. Ready? Go. Wah! And that's it. Well, you know how many guys lift off the throttle because it scares the crap out of you to do that with 1,500 horsepower. Yeah. And there's a lot of torque squat. Yeah. So you could see right away if they can't progress to step 2, which is now there's a little dirt mound. You can do the same thing.
Because you need that moment, you need that weight transfer to do some of the
stuff. Well, it's just going
to
do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just torque squat. Everything is going to those rear tires. It's just huge. It's a big dragster. So anyway, you could tell by watching someone if they would
lift off. Yeah.
Oh no, you're not. You can't do it. So anyway, not to say
they're hesitating. Yeah.
Yeah, you hesitate. You got to commit to that throttle. So anyway, made that pass, and they're like, oh, now we're going to have a little dirt mound about this big and do the exact same thing, but that dirt's like maybe 10 feet in front of the car. When I drop my arm, you go. So what do you think happens?
I mean, I
floored, and 10 feet in front of you is a bump of dirt.
You're
just airborne.
Totally.
But it looks
You're
great.
just immediately airborne. Okay. Anyway.
That was your second time you.
That was on day 1 of
amazing.
test driving. So by the end of 2 days.
They're testing your instincts to see if you can do
by
it
the end
right
of 2 days, again, we were going diagonal off of a big jump.
Yeah.
Diagonal is different than straight.
Yeah.
Because you're all 4 tires. You're landing like this.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, do you want the job? I said yes. And then 6 weeks later was my very first show, and I had no driving in between then.
And then what
I was
happened?
going to ask how often you get to practice. Maybe
I
not
asked
that
them
often. Yeah.
When am I going to get to practice again?
You practice at the event.
They said, oh no, your first show is the next time you're going to drive this truck.
Oh man.
Cool, guys.
We're in a huge field in North Carolina with no barriers.
Yeah.
Now we're in Trenton, New Jersey, and the world's tiniest arena.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then when you go into an arena that plays hockey, they have hockey, the Dashers.
It's like this big.
Which are expensive electronic boards that have advertisements on them. So we would sit in our driver's meeting and be told whether or not the Dashers were going to be gone, or which would give us more space, or if we were within the confines. And that's the very smallest configuration we drive in, and it's Nicole's first show. Previously only 2 days in a field. So they say, hey, the Dashers are expensive. They're like $5,000 if you just tap it with your tire. So don't hit a Dasher. What do you think Nicole did on her first show?
Straight into it.
Oh, I hit a Dasher.
Yeah.
What did you expect? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Dasher. But I also won racing. I don't know. We had just single elimination, and in an arena, it's just straight line drag racing. Basically, cut a good light, which is that whole same thing. When I drop my arm, go. Come up on the torque converter. There's just a red light, green light, and there's 2 trucks. And at the time, we had crushed cars, something from a junkyard, painted all vibrant colors, right? And it just maybe a van in between them. It'd be like a car, van, car. We call it a van stack, car, van, car, or whatever. And the idea is there's a start line, and then the finish line is like maybe just right afterwards. You might even be in the air just right afterwards. You're going 30 feet. I don't know. And when the green light goes, it's just drag race each other. So I beat everybody that night. It was single elimination. Amazing. I just, so you didn't get round. I beat Gravedigger. It wasn't Dennis driving. We had multiple drivers
But
of multiple
people
trucks.
care about the.
But he was my teammate, and I beat him.
That's great.
It wasn't supposed to be great. Apparently, that's not cool because.
Oh, interesting.
Listen, little kids like to buy the Gravedigger merch.
Absolutely.
And he's a loser now.
Yeah.
My first year, I only did the arenas.
Okay.
I did win racing 9 times in that 12 weeks.
How many events roughly are you driving in a year like that? Dozens, or is it a dozen times?
At the time, it was the first quarter of the year. We'd go on right after New Year's.
Okay.
Until the end of March. No, you had 12 weekends, 11, 12 weekends.
Right.
And if you're doing arenas, you're doing a Friday night, 2 Saturday shows. If it was a 3-day weekend like MLK, then we would also do a Sunday show.
Okay.
So typically 3 shows in a weekend times 12, maybe 36 shows, whatever. So I won racing 9 times in that 12-week window, which was the most amount of wins by a rookie or a female in a single season, albeit straight line drag racing.
Yeah, okay.
So I got a good light, I guess. I don't know.
Have you done any actual drag racing? Because it seems like maybe you have good
I
reaction
had done
times.
a sand drag race
Okay.
one time
right.
when a guy was like, hey, drive my car. It was a friend of my dad's. Hey, drive my car. Okay.
But at the end of the 6 years, you end up in the Scooby Doo truck, the Warner Brothers Scooby Doo truck.
So
And it's
I guess
like-
where he was wanting me to say.
I've seen you go upside down. I've seen all kinds of clips of
So
you.
where he was
Just the
wanting to say
progression.
is, you know, then I was given an opportunity to drive in stadiums. And now you have a little bit more freedom to do bigger tricks and bigger things. Though our drivers' meetings were, if you've been given the green light to do a backflip, if you're not somebody who's been given a green light, we will use the RII, which is the remote ignition interrupter. They go bink and shut you off. Cut you up. For safety reasons, we had to run an RII.
If you get
because if you're not ready to do it.
Correct. Well, they're just, the cars would run away and kill somebody. So for Monster Jam was fantastic with
external stuff.
And most likely you're going to trash it.
A big monster truck's too big to have like an easy external.
No, the whole reason why you couldn't do it was because it devalued the entertainment quality of the 3 backflips they were already going to see.
Oh, right.
If
So you can't
16
just go
trucks
rogue.
Did a backflip, yawn.
Right.
Right.
You can't go rogue.
Where's the double backflip? Where's the front flip, which is a thing I think they do now.
Sure. I mean, the tricks are so amazing. Everybody who's doing it now, all the girls, females who are doing it now, oh my gosh, everybody's so good at it.
These kids today.
These kids today.
Are you still plugged into the world at all? You know those folks?
I have a couple friends that I keep up with, but it's easier for me to put my blinders on because I'm not much of a spectator.
Totally.
I'm not a spectator.